about books. For real this time, Ben.
For real this time. I'm afraid I've angered you, but I just care about our
We need to
listeners'
destroy all the machines,
audio
Ben.
experience.
It was a mistake. The internet was a mistake. Computers were a mistake. It's time to go back to the good old days. Nothing more complex than a steam-powered locomotive, Ben.
Well, that's an interesting steampunk Amish take you've developed there. But, according to Snow Crash, back in the olden days, we just had programming of a different sort.
Life was simpler, Ben.
But was it worth living before the numshub of Enki?
Well, since I wouldn't have been conscious, yes. I got food, I got shelter, I got what passes for their version of universal health care, which is to say they'd rub some water in it and then rub some dirt in it and then I guess kill you if the infection got too bad. And you know what? Never had to pay a mortgage or listen to Elon Musk. So it was a better time.
Those are privileged times. I bet, you know what? I bet back then there was still some Elon Musk. There was still some guy just desperate to get on Epstein's island, but even Epstein thought he was a fucking cringe. And
I'm sorry, you're not cool enough to be a sex predator. So you're not allowed to come on my island.
You see they got J.K. Rowling implicated in that now.
Oh, that's weird, Ben.
I'm gonna poke through the salacious bit. I think she's accused of like what they found is basically just her failing to arrange a time to like meet with him. But she wanted they might have met in 2013, which was 5 years after his initial conviction. So,
wow,
that's not great. I don't think she was partying at the island, but it's not great.
Yeah, but we're not doing anything to the people who are actually doing or did really horrible shit. So, like, yeah.
Can you imagine? Because we've established the precedent that America can just go into a country and take somebody out if we feel they've committed a crime.
we go into the UK.
We go into the UK. We take J.K. Rowling,
and then we make her president. This is going.
That might be what they did. Oh boy, Nate. Okay, we gotta move on.
We gotta talk about Snow Crash, Ben. We gotta talk about where did we leave off last time? We did a lot of setting up. And then we were going to talk about all the language bullshit.
Yeah, we basically got to where David got his brain fried.
Yeah.
And Hero was tasked by Juanita with, I don't know, solving Snow Crash. It's really unclear what the specifications of his job are. But I think he's to figure out what happened to David and how they're going to stop this from happening to everyone.
Your job is to get to know me better, and so I need you to stop the destruction of society. Can you do that?
Not a lot of strong female characters in this one.
Here is a really big flash drive. Stick this in your brain and talk to the AI on the other side to get all the knowledge you need. And occasionally, an Aleut, he can kayak and he has glass swords and he kills people, and also has a nuke.
Yeah,
probably should have led with that one. He'll samurai sword fight you, and both the real and the digital world.
Yeah, one of those is more impressive than the other. But yeah, so I guess we got to talk about what kind of is the plot of Snow Crash, I guess.
It's a drug,
which
Ben,
is
and
Snow
also
Crash.
A computer program, and also a computer program drug. YT is going to get a sample of it for the mafia from a guy who used to sell Freon refrigerating
I
coolant.
think he still sells it.
Yeah. You know how you do. You diversify. You're like, hey, man, I got that Castrol GTX.
I think he's just a general purpose chemist.
I can hook you up with some motor oil and also some black tar heroin.
I don't think it would be the only garage to also deal in black tar heroin. There was a chicken wing place by my house that dealt only in cash. And when anybody went in there for chicken wings, they were like, "Are you serious?"
Yes.
Um,
I want chicken wings. Why would I come to a chicken wing place if I wasn't getting chicken wings?
yeah. But I'm trying to think where to start. So I guess the plot.
Now you said that used to be there.
Yeah, it used
so
to
you
be.
don't have that chicken wing shop anymore.
No.
Oh, that's a shame. Now you gotta go eat at a chain.
There are places. There's independent chicken wing places.
But are any of them going to accept my cash?
For the time being, till Trump convinces everybody to drop the dollar as the reserve currency.
Yeah, let's get some crypto. That'll work.
Trump coin. Yeah. So, what do you think of L. Bob Rife?
Well, god damn. Well, when I first heard his name, I was thinking like L. Bob, E.L. Bob. But no,
That would
is
actually be an interesting tie-in to the Bible stuff.
Well, instead, he is not L. Ron Hubbard. He's definitely not him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the L. Ron.
He does live on a flotilla of ships.
Yeah, I think
and he has founded a religion.
The L. Ron Hubbard thing. It has to be at least a little intentional, I think.
What? What are you talking about? They decided they were going to make some sort of ridiculous caricature of a person and make that the villain of this book, and it just happened to look like a real life person.
A real life villain.
He was here to save us from our thetans or whatever, Ben.
Well,
we're all going to go to the moon. I don't know what they believe other than Xenu's a problem. Look, I've seen parts of Battlefield Earth, and that's what's in store for us if he doesn't.
So
if we don't fuck him on his boat or whatever. For those who
don't know, L. Ron Hubbard is the founder of Scientology. He was before that.
It's got science right there in the name.
Before that, and during
how could it be bad?
He was a science fiction writer, and
Will Smith.
Yeah. Will Smith's in pretty deep.
Tom Cruise
is in pretty deep. Most of Hollywood's in pretty deep. It's a cult that exists in plain sight. They've committed tons of crimes, not the least of which are the stuff they do to their own members, and it is a nightmare. And L. Ron Hubbard spent the last, I want to say, decade or so of his life drifting on a boat in international waters because no country would have him.
Yeah, I feel like this is why submarines were invented, right?
Well, and so in the book, L. Bob Rife, I forget what was his business.
He had a business?
Yeah, there was.
I know.
No, because
he propped up an evangelist, like a Christian evangelist, right?
Well, yeah, but
like
he employed a ton of programmers.
Like, God is telling me he needs me to have another jet, so I need you to all pray and open up your pocketbooks so I could buy a jet to spread the word of the Lord.
But he employed a bunch of programmers, and that was the
freedom of religion was a mistake.
That was the source of his problems.
We need to kick in the door. We need to drag that guy to jail. After we destroy all the computers and the internet, then.
You seem a little burnt out, Nate. Oh boy. No, so L. Bob, I know he did a religion thing, But for whatever reason, he had to employ a bunch of programmers. And he wanted to maintain
They're called hackers, Ben.
absolute control over all of his information. And he didn't like the fact that his programmers
He's the network maker.
would inevitably oh yeah, is that what he did? He laid the fiber optic. So he didn't like that his programmers would inevitably take his information home with them in their brains. He wanted essentially to be able to, like, some severance shit or something. He wanted to be able to employ them for 8 hours a day or whatever, and then wipe their memory of what he considered to be his property. And that was obviously not going to be like super achievable for him. So he sought different methods of control, and going along with his interest in the Bible and religion, he got into ancient Sumerian culture and tablets.
You know what you could do instead of going through all these steps to control all the information? You could drown. You could drown. World would be a better place. Have you considered that? It's real easy. The water's right there.
Have you considered drowning? Well, he didn't consider drowning. He considered a more roundabout route, to be sure. He wanted to get into the roots of, like how the brain processes information. What is
Didn't
sentience?
Lagos give him this information?
Yeah, Lagos was looking
into it. This is what got El Bob onto it.
Yeah.
And El Bob was like, thanks for the information, dumb shit. This is mine now.
Yeah.
You can leave, but that information stays here.
Yeah, and I think the point is the information, El Bob has it now, and that's bad.
Hero protagonist puts together a concert for the greatest rapper of our generation.
This doesn't have anything to do with anything we just discussed, but this did happen in the book.
Sushi K, Ben.
Sushi K.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being really good and 10 being the best rap you've ever heard in your life, where would you rank Sushi K's rap?
That's a pretty hard one.
So it's pretty good, is what you're saying.
I'm not a connoisseur of rap. I dabble, not in rapping, but in the consumption of rap. But I would say that was hard to sit through, and
because of how, because you're getting up off your feet and you were like, yeah!
It wasn't one of the narrator's less offensive accents.
You did it!
Do you want to go through it? I believe you had prepared a rendition for us.
Maybe later. Ben.
Maybe later? Okay.
Maybe when I've got more caffeine in my body.
Okay.
Maybe,
you can't give it the old Sushi K try right now. It wouldn't be fair to him. You want to do it justice.
No, it wouldn't come. Yeah. No, it would make it seem like that Sushi K was like bad and shit. And that's not fair to Sushi K or what's his nuts.
So I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about like what Snow Crash is and the stuff that Hero figures out with the librarian.
Over many, 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 many chapters.
Yeah, so basically Juanita gives Hero this data card. I forget what they call it. But on that data card, there is a library's worth of information on ancient Sumeria and ancient languages, modern languages, programming, all this stuff, this confluence of stuff that logos and which means logic and the mind and El Bob Rife are interested in, and it's to get him up to speed and to help him investigate what's going on with Snow Crash. And he spends a lot of time, and a lot of the book is just sort of Socratic dialogues between Hero and the librarian as they just piece together some of Neal Stephenson's pet theories.
And every now and then we cut away from them so that YT can do something totally radical.
Yeah. We cut away from YT so she can cowabunga dude with the mafia. And then we cut back to the Socratic dialogue about religion as technology and the whole concept of basically encoded information. So I'm trying to think where to start with this. I mentioned before that a lot of the religion and language stuff, it sounds like more of the fake nonsense that is part of the book as a whole, but there's actually a good bit of theory here. And one of the things is um, Sumeria is often credited as the first civilization that I think we have evidence for. They definitely were the first to write stuff down in a way that we can decipher today. It helped that
The good old days.
they wrote on baked clay tablets, which age very well, unlike much of our writing today. And so there's a little bit of a mystique around Sumeria that, like, what changed? What happened to this species that had been anatomically modern for, I don't know, 100,000 years or whatever? What changed to finally make them start building cities and technologies and weapons and wars and all that stuff? And Stephenson introduces a theory that it was the Sumerian language in conjunction with a virus, which I take to mean a biological virus. And
Yes.
and he gets maybe a little too deep with some of this. I don't think
he talks about Paradise Lost.
I think Paradise Lost. I think you were stretching. I think he was stretching there.
A mythical time before diseases and viruses happened, and I guess not diseases, because I assume bacteria would still be around, but a mythical time before viruses, Ben. And then suddenly everyone started getting sick.
Yeah,
and we couldn't blame the libs because they weren't around back then. So we just started dying, and then we were like, all these civilizations had these stories about, there's the Greeks and Pandora's box. There's Adam and Eve. We lost that paradise of not being killed by viruses, Ben.
I don't know how that logically flows with anything else he says in the book.
I think that the virus maybe is how Enki becomes a more modern human, because it alters your DNA, and
so
eventually his DNA was all DNA mutations over generations. Eventually, we weren't like automatons; we were like people, Ben.
So
or something.
There's a biological virus and there's a mimetic virus. And I'm going to go into a bit of a tangent here.
Like herpes, Ben. That was their
example. That is the
example,
because herpes...
It embeds itself into different portions of your neurosystem.
Yeah.
And it stays there forever.
Often dormant until sometimes it flares up. So when you talk about information theory and linguistics and computer science and all that stuff, a lot is made in this book of digital information. Digital information being information that is encoded in ones and zeros, and how the ones and zeros can be made to represent any possible data you would encounter.
And how you, Ben, as a programmer, you understand binary on a level us loser average man off the street could never possibly comprehend.
I mean, I'm probably better at it than the average. Yeah, I would say actually probably, yeah.
And that's why you're going to get snow crash first.
Yeah. We'll talk we'll talk about that. That was also just kind of lame, but I like the language theory. So the Sumerian language, I don't know much about it myself, but according to Snow Crash,
It uses a lot of ones and zeros.
it's what, monosyllabic? Like every word is one syllable. Like it's a series of one syllable strings. Like digital information is a series of one digit strings represented by ones and zeros. This is where some of the stuff gets a little wonky, is because like he's making much of the one and the zero, but the Sumerian language obviously has more than two syllables. It's not a binary language. But he really wants to draw that comparison between strings of Sumerian language.
Yeah, it's slightly higher up, you know.
Yeah,
but it all goes back to ones and zeros, Ben.
It can, and so that's the fundamental leap. Like you have to think about language as technology, text, especially writing, as technology. This idea that we can construct symbols to represent things and concepts.
Yeah, like that book about StarCraft where they learn to read all over again.
Yeah. So the humanity seemed to, like, just evolutionarily, we, from our like vocalizations, evolve into sophisticated languages that can represent very complex concepts. And Stephenson kind of envisions a young humanity somewhere between like modern sentient human and animal. And this is kind of an interesting,
the golden age.
This is an interesting thing because like it's tough to, like, to what extent did Neanderthals have language?
Who cares? They lost.
So it's an interesting thing to think about.
You're on the loser boat. Did they write down anything?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I mean, lots of animals have vocalizations that have meanings. Could you call that a word? I don't know. That this is a lot of like the stuff about intelligence that is actually very interesting. And when you're trying to create artificial intelligence, this is the sort of stuff you would think about if you weren't just making brute force large language models to solve every task, whether they're equal to it or not. But he envisions that there was some possibly virus that tweaked the Sumerian population and made their language leap forward. And this virus tweaked them in such a way that they established a social hierarchy. Suddenly they had a priest caste and a military caste and workers. And the priest caste functioned, the primary function of religion was as an information repository.
Yeah. How are we going to farm? When do we farm?
Yeah, and
did they actually build those things they said in the text? Because if so, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Did they build what?
Where they could chart the like the stars in the sky by building giant. That's pretty.
Yeah, no, they did.
Wish I knew more about Sumerian culture.
They did. In like ancient Egypt, you know, the pharaohs were the pharaohs because they could predict the flood, and that seems like a divine power. It is not. They were astronomers. They were taught to read the signs.
More evidence they could predict the floods.
Well, and that's the thing that
priest cast
that he's saying. Stevenson's saying
the pharaoh is a god as well as the king and ruler.
Well, the thing Stevenson is saying is take that all at face value. You know, kind of throw out what you know about people and assume that this wasn't just a group of people who figured something out and then jealously guarded that secret to pretend to be gods and taught their children how to do it until eventually their children were too inbred and crazy and lost it.
Done. I've thrown all that out. These were different humans, Ben. These were ancient humans.
But he sees religion as a repository of knowledge, which
I thought he saw Sumeria almost as like an organism, like a singular organism, and the priests were like the brains.
The priests are the memory at the very least, or the brain.
Yeah.
They make decisions about, and this is true to an extent, they make decisions about when to plant, when to harvest. And we still have these festivals, like Christmas happens around the winter solstice. Easter happens.
Yeah, that's Jesus. So.
But you have your autumn festivals. You have it's very tied into the seasons. You have these festivals. You do these things because they work to an extent. And a lot of people have examined a lot of religious rules. Where it sort of falls apart is they don't all work. There's a lot of junk built in there. That's
to obscure that's their encryption, Ben.
It's about
you have to be in the know to understand that, like, maybe we don't need to sacrifice all of our babies to Poseidon or whatever.
So I've heard things like the kosher rules, like don't mix milk.
Yeah, that was junk. Ben.
No, that
it wasn't until Jesus came down and was like, we don't need that.
No, they're saying don't eat pork, severe risk of trichinosis. Don't eat, carrion birds. They carry tons of disease. Don't mix meat and milk, cross contamination. Like, there are reasons you would see these things be done.
Only they had something about germ theory.
Well, there are reasons you would see these things happen and see them often go bad and conclude, God doesn't want me to be doing that. And that's one of the theories of religion as sort of an evolved necessity, but not all religions work that way. And this is going to be my main criticism of Stephenson's thing here, because even though I like it, it's very Abraham centric. It doesn't.
I mean, isn't everything, Ben? I mean, we all started in Sumeria, and now you might be like, well, what about Native Americans and Chinese and Japanese? And shut up.
Yeah,
shut up.
That was going to be my
shut
thing,
up.
Because
were there people in Australia? Shut up, shut up, Ben. They all started in Sumeria, and they spread from there.
Well, and there's another thing.
And that happened because of ancient snow crash, Ben.
So, two things to keep in mind. Language is essentially creating verbal audio symbols to represent things and concepts. Writing is creating pictures to represent things and concepts. And this allows communication, planning, organization, intelligence. Without language, our intelligence is severely limited. That's one of the things.
Yes.
So he envisions this pure Sumerian culture where you got the priest caste, you got all this. And what people do is they go to the temple and the priests preach at them. And that information runs as a low level operating. It's a low level system command. He keeps trying to equate it to computers because he wants to say that the original computers were people. And
hell yeah.
If you don't know how computers,
I mean, we did tend to look at, especially a lot of psychology, through the lens of computers after they became a thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know we looked at the body as an engine after we had the Industrial Revolution.
The brain is hardware and the mind is software.
Yeah. And I don't think it's not that simple, obviously. And it's not a good way to think about it. So well, it's not helpful. It's not helpful because a computer is designed sort of like it's obviously a planned design. And
just like humans were planned by God.
If it was so
intelligent design theory, Ben.
Well, when you get
if you see a watch on the beach You're going to
Yes.
be like, oh my God, who built this watch? Obviously, an intelligent designer had to build this watch.
Yeah. If I saw a watch. But if I see a jellyfish that washed up, I might think maybe the ocean just congealed.
Intelligently.
Where I'm going with this is, so here's how things run on a computer, right? You're using your computer. You enter commands. You click a button, you do something. The operating system takes that, turns it into an instruction, runs it. Ultimately, you're going down in levels of complexity. So
doesn't go to zeros and ones.
Yeah. So at a very high level.
So English is my operating system where everything's translating into English.
You have an
if I learn German, I'm going to convert it into what the English word and concept is. And then that's going into my deep brain structures, which is binary, or in this case, Sumerian.
So you have an operating system.
Yeah.
That abstracts the actual hardware. So you enter commands into the operating system. And I think in the analogy, the operating system, which is Windows or Linux or Mac OS, that is your conscious mind. That's where your thoughts happen.
Yeah.
Below that, you have system.
Where my brain lives.
You have system level commands. The operating system is actually sending commands in the form of ones and zeros, in the form of electrical signals through the hardware. And that is your brain. This is where the analogy gets a little tricky, because ones and zeros is how we represent electrical states within the system. There obviously are not little ones and zeros in your processor that are being flipped back and forth. These are
not yet.
These are electrical signals.
I haven't written that coding language yet.
Like ultimately, it has to turn into something real that exists in reality. We have to get out of the world of symbols, and you can execute commands below the operating system level. But in order to do that, you have to write in a language much closer to the ones and zeros. The ones and zeros...
Sumerian.
The ones and zeros represent electrical signals. There's a layer of abstraction over them that makes it a little bit more readable. That's your programming language. And then there's a layer above that that makes it even more readable, and that's your like applications that take English language input. So the ones and zeros pretty close to representing electrical signals. And in that same way, Sumerian, he argues, is close to ones and zeros. It's close to the fundamental structures and impulses and signals that the organism, the machine of the brain, can interpret.
Yeah, they were coding in like Visual Basic, and we need to get out of that.
Yeah, basically he wants to the kind of language that like your BIOS, your built-in operating system is written in. The thing that loads before Windows loads.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Exactly.
It'd be a really bad idea.
Because it is not user friendly, because you're messing with like the fundamental stuff. You can really screw something up. And that's what he argues Sumerian is. I think that's a little is where it starts to get a little wonky from like the theory perspective, because like there's no reason to think that Sumerian is lower level of a language. Like it sounds like he's saying that it's less.
It's because they came first, Ben.
But they didn't, you know.
No, they're pretty sure they were the first and only.
But like they're just,
and then after
the first and best attested.
after the original snow crash, which is also what we call Babel, no one could. We all had different languages,
Except they
and we all had
continued
to
to use
develop.
Sumerian for a long time, and even Stephenson acknowledges that.
Yeah, but in the same way we use like Latin, no one speaks Latin.
But you could.
Yeah, but like that's really hard.
And if you did, you
I already
wouldn't...
have the perfect language, which is English, because it's made up of a bunch of different
There's
languages.
nothing confusing. There's no ambiguities in English. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not. And if there are, those were built in to trick you, and you need to become a master level Englisher like me in order to get those higher level conscious thoughts.
He's proposing that Sumerian is like the language, the language from which all other languages derive. And that's not true, even remotely.
Adam and Eve were speaking that language in Eden.
So many people have sought that language.
We found it, Sumerian.
No, not even close. Linguistic theory goes that, now this is all dependent on what we have records of, how well attested is a language after it goes extinct. Sumerian, because of the clay tablets, pretty well attested. And that's one of the reasons people fixate on it, is because there's a lot to fixate on. There's quite a lot written in Sumerian that you might want to read, and it can tell you quite a lot about people back then.
It might also shed some light on when the aliens visited, built all their structures, and made all their clay tablets. Ben.
That's true.
Yeah, because we can't think that ancient humans were maybe smarter than we gave them credit for. It had to be aliens.
Yes.
They built those observatories that weren't observatories, but you know,
if Giorgio Tsoukalopoulos can't understand it,
is that his name?
His name is Tsoukalopoulos, I think, or something like that.
Okay, of course it is.
He's painfully Greek.
Or Sumerian.
No, so philology is the study of languages, right? Or the study of the history of languages. And ancient languages, it is possible to an extent to see when languages diverged and how they evolve. And this is something Stephenson gets into because he is familiar with the linguistics of it all. He knows how languages tend to transform and diversify. And he thinks that's a feature of the original snow crash, the original Babel event.
Which was a virus. Yeah.
Which was a virus.
It's going to mutate over time.
Yeah.
And it's in your nervous system. So as it mutates, it changes your nervous system.
And what he's saying is, before, people used to receive their instructions in Sumerian. Now, again, this is claiming Sumerian is not, it is somehow fundamentally different from modern language, and that's silly. It's not, but
do we know that for sure, Ben?
Yeah, we do.
So
all right. Well, he's claiming that it's literally like talking in ones and zeros, that people in Sumerian, people talking in Sumerian, they just had conversations like you and me. They were people.
They just happen to have all their words as one.
He's trying to make them syllable. Robots, and I don't know. I find that a little problematic.
So there was a civilization before Sumeria that just talked in ones and zeros.
Yeah, well, when you keep...
They talked in blinks.
A computer is designed.
It was Morse code.
This is the problem. A computer is designed, and so it has these levels of abstraction that are very messy and blurred in an actual human brain. So he's saying that the Sumerian was like the ones and zeros. It's the BIOS. When they were communicating in Sumerian, when they got, especially the prayers, especially the liturgical language, when they got these prayers went into the deep structures of your brain and altered it.
Yeah. That's why we talk in tongues.
You didn't need, he gets into glossolalia. But he's saying that the Sumerian people, therefore, they could go to their temple, they could get the program installed, and they didn't need to understand it. They didn't need to think about it. Like if you needed to know how to make,
because their language was so easy. But
no, he's saying because it changed the fundamental structures of the brain. It didn't.
Oh, there you
it
go.
didn't go through the frontal lobe. It just altered the brain directly. You didn't have to.
Yeah, I mean,
learn
and let's face it, like frontal lobe, like that's real generous. You know what I mean? Like modern humans, you know.
But then
we're special.
He takes the Enki mythology.
Haven't we been building like Stone Age humans for the last? I think that there's a pretty strong theory that we've been basically just building humans to survive in a Stone Age environment. Like we biologically haven't evolved much at all over the last.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tens of thousands of years.
Well, because that's not the scale on which evolution happens.
So they had a frontal lobe as big as you or me.
Absolutely, yeah. They were just people. That's the problem.
But they didn't have to deal with Elon Musk. So
he's saying the only difference is the language. The software was changed. The hardware is the same. The software has changed.
But they weren't using their frontal lobe the same way or as often. Perhaps.
They didn't have to, and that's why Enki was
sounds awesome.
Potentially the first fully conscious human who later became deified in myth. And Enki is a real deity that exists in the Sumerian pantheon, and he is referencing.
Yeah, I assumed that he didn't make that up.
He is referencing real Sumerian myths.
I did look it up to be to see what the hell is going on there, because
somebody mentioned the sperm water thing.
Yeah,
and I'll be real with you. I don't know if he made that up, but I don't think he did.
No, ancient cultures had all kinds of weird shit. Unlike us, Ben.
Yeah, unlike us.
Our enlightened modern cultures.
No one has ever questioned why we celebrate the death of Jesus with an Easter bunny.
Yeah, we have. Wait, you're right. Don't question it. Good point. Don't question it. Easter bunny dug up Jesus' body and dragged it to that cave where he was resurrected. And Jesus was like, you know what? For doing that, I'm going to honor you. Every time we celebrate my resurrection,
the children will color eggs.
And you'll hide them.
No questions, buddy. Yeah, no. So I actually do think that I don't know if that's what Sumerians believed, but I think that is a real theory.
A Japanese myth where the Japanese islands, or possibly the world, I can't remember which, were created by Spooge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's just a thing that ancient humans did because, like we didn't have the Pope saying that was wrong, Ben, and that you need to feel ashamed about all the weird fluids coming out of your body.
Yeah, no.
It was a freer time. It was a better time, Ben.
It sounds very plausible to me. So the Enki stuff, he's arguing that this guy, Enki, caused Babel, whereby he he used the virus, or he crafted a virus, or he crafted some.
Yeah, I was a little unclear on that. Did he make this virus, or like?
I feel like
because he infects everyone somehow.
He created the way. This is where it started to get wonky for me. Is when the virus becomes an actual virus. So,
or is this like how he, like this the whole Spooge story with Enki in the water? He infected people with his spooge and passed on a virus, a sexually transmitted disease? Because they keep talking about herpes, and that is an STI.
Yes. I really don't know, because he talks about the mimetic stuff.
So I am contributing to this conversation.
You are, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's the Richard Dawkins, kind of an asshole, but he had one good book. he introduced the term meme. It was supposed to.
Oh God.
It was supposed to be like gene. Like as a gene is to the DNA, a meme is to information. And
well, maybe he wasn't wrong. Maybe he was onto something.
He speculated that is how, and this goes along with language too, is like this is how mutations get passed in information. This is why the game of telephone always slightly alters the message.
Exactly what I was thinking about. Telephone.
Yeah. And
now we're at the point where we can alter the information so much it doesn't even stem from the original source.
Yeah.
It's not a slight alteration of telephone. It's like completely different. It's a different story.
Yeah. It's a better time. It's a more advanced time.
Yeah.
So
bring back Samaria.
He didn't like the way people were just being programmed. He wanted to uplift them, to make them fully aware, to make them have to understand the reality around them, to earn the knowledge.
Bro, I just want to farm my crops. I don't want to understand the deeper meaning.
Well, here's the numb shub of Enki. I'm releasing
a
plague. It may be psychological, it may be biological, or some combination thereof. But I'm going to take away the ability of the Sumerian language to reach directly into the roots of your mind. You're now going to have to use these other languages that go through the frontal lobe, and you're going to have to actually understand concepts.
God damn it.
Now, this goes one deeper, and this is a thing.
And we fought ever since to get rid of education.
So I don't know if you were taught this.
Thanks a lot, Enki.
I don't know if you were taught this. When I was in school, I was, and this includes college, actually. This is a college level Western history of Western civilization.
I avoided that class.
I took it. I took 1 and 2. And the Hebrew Bible and monotheism are treated as objective advancements.
And in this, the Torah is maybe a virus.
No, the Torah is
to infect people with the information.
It is a way, the religious institutions built around the Torah, the Talmud, all these sacred texts, and the way they must be copied and read and preserved is the founding of quote unquote rational religion.
Yeah.
And that is,
we did it, guys.
That's because of information hygiene, which I think is also a little problematic. And that they have been able to maintain records throughout the ages, whereas we only know Sumerian because the quirk of the clay tablets, they have been able to actually create near perfect copies. That's not quite true, but it's pretty remarkable, actually. And I read a book in, I think, 2024 called Nexus by the guy who wrote Sapiens and Homo Deus, that is like pop science reporter guy. And he was very, very on about religion as an information system and talking about the Bible and the Quran and all these religious books as testaments to like information systems and record keeping and all this stuff and how AI is going to affect this. So this keeps coming up again and again. But
and you talked going back to your Western Civ thing.
Yeah.
Of how this was like an objective good or like a huge advancement.
They point to it as like they talked about it. They didn't come right out and say this was a step towards rationality, but they considered it a technological advancement that rather than the teachings coming from a priest,
it's no longer an oral tradition.
Well, they said that now it can't be easily altered. now we all have, well, not all of us, but now a larger number of people have access to the source.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I don't need to alter it. I can just
interpret it,
find what I want, and interpret
and
it.
argue about it.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
I have been taught, and there was a very clear bias that is at like the heart of Western reason. Like you know how this, like, I mean,
there is a very clear, like if you've got a Bible or a Torah or whatever, you've got it all written down, and you're not just some bullshit loser pagan.
Yeah, it gives you credibility,
quote unquote religion. Yeah, you're not just a bunch of people who all believe in a thing. You're like an organization now.
Well, and you have quote unquote rational reasons for believing. Like, I have this book of wisdom that was passed on and comes from somewhere. That's my thing. You just got some guys.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is when and this has been the problem with all of the like Western.
That was spirituality. This is religion.
Well, this is the problem with all the like quote unquote Western civilization stuff is then they want to take credit for Greece too.
Hell yeah.
Every major empire in Europe has claimed to be the true heir to Greece, to the intellectual achievements of the Greek philosophers.
That's Rome, and then the true heir to Rome. I mean, that's the Byzantine Empire. But then when it fell, it was the
Germans for
Britain.
a minute, and then it was the
Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
I had Rome right in the name.
Yeah.
And then the Britain, because they had like half the fucking world, and now it's America as intended. When I look at our leaders, Ben, I think truly this is what Plato and Socrates.
This is the best. When I look at our leaders, what I see is the combined wisdom of the rabbis of old with the philosophers of ancient Greece, and they're just arguing over lofty existential concepts that we peasants struggle to understand. Did you see that video of Donald Trump shitting himself?
Ben, I never thought I would miss the times when Congress was debating whether or not SpongeBob was gay. And that was what they did. That was their job. And you know what? I thought it was dumb as hell then, and a waste of all of our time and money, and like, what are these people that we elected doing? And you know what? Let's go back to that. Let's stop legislating.
Nobody ever had.
Let's go back to debating about SpongeBob.
Nobody ever had to debate whether or not Plato was gay, because he told you the purest form of love was between an older man and a young boy on the cusp of growing his beard.
That's not gay.
Not if you're on top. And he was.
Yeah, and you still have the women folk around for making those young boys, I guess. And
it's but yeah, it's I find all the language and religion stuff very interesting, and I like how he addressed, like how he brings in the fact that the Bible is actually composed largely, especially the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, are largely composed of older stories older than Israel as a culture. And that's how some of the Sumerian stuff's getting lumped in. But then, he throws it out. He throws out all the other stuff. Nothing moved east. He doesn't get into the fact that, like, Sanskrit is infinitely more closely related to English than Hebrew is to either.
Well, I mean, we don't want to take. Look, Hebrews. That's like the Old Testament. We got a fresh New Testament. And King James was the one who wrote it.
They translated it from the Greek with a few additions.
Or alternatively, he wrote that whole cloth, Ben. I don't know for sure, and I'm not going to look it up, but I want to believe something.
It's pretty well documented. He commissioned it to be written, obviously. He didn't speak any of these languages. So anyway, that's what Snow Crash is.
Britain's the heir to the ancient Greeks and also Romans.
Well, and then of course America tried to hop on that, and that's why all of Washington D.C. looks like it's pseudo Rome.
Yeah, we did it. Peak civilization. We'll never get it back. We just figured out how to replicate their cement like last year.
Well,
and it wasn't aliens.
The thing I don't hate, like, I love talking about this stuff, and I really like that Snow Crash. I was not expecting, believe me, the first half of the book.
When you start with hardcore pizza deliveries and the most radical teenager girl of all time.
Yeah, no, I was not expecting it to get into like all this old linguistics and religion and all this stuff. And like I love, like, these are the kind of this stuff I disagree with Stephenson on, is the stuff I love disagreeing about, though. Like, I'm just happy we're talking about it. And I think Stephenson, like, for 92, his opinions are pretty much the mainstream. I because like I said, I was taking Western Civ in 2006, 2008, and they were still hammering this home. They're probably still hammering this home that writing down your religion is an objective advancement.
Yeah.
But just
because then you can't keep slowly increasing the size of the fish that you caught. Now everyone knows how much that fish weighed and how long it was.
Well, until we debate, like what was a day? Was it poetic language?
Yeah, what was a day? God created the universe in 7 days, but that could have been like 50 million years. Who knows, Ben?
Yeah, never mind the fact that all of it has to be translated before it even gets to you.
What was a day? Maybe we need to go back to the ancient Sumerian source, Ben.
Maybe we could. So what all of this study has enabled him to do, and I think at the end there's like a MacGuffin clay tablet that also doesn't matter. There's like one clay tablet that has the numshub of...
Did he need that clay tablet? I thought... Because he goes after El Bob to get his tablet, because El Bob commissioned like an archaeology find in Iraq, and
so the tablet, as I understand
dug up a tablet in an ancient city, and
as I understand it, the tablet contained the numshub of Enki, the prayer or the spell that Enki spoke.
So what is that?
That is what triggers...
Is that... Okay, but wait, hold on. I thought Snow Crash triggered Babel. Wait, hold on. No, Snow Crash fucks your operating system. Okay, no, it's okay, but okay, hold on, Ben. What the fuck does that do?
Okay.
What does the clay tablet do?
What I think the clay tablet did.
And does that account for tens of thousands of years of the virus in question evolving? Because viruses do evolve very quickly.
I don't think Stephenson had like a super great grasp of viruses.
Okay.
Of biological viruses, because it doesn't, the way he describes it doesn't make sense. But so what I think was on the clay tablet was the numshub of Enki, which is the spell that triggered the Tower of Babel event that scattered the tongues of men, that forced, that it broke the ability of Sumerian to directly affect our hardware.
Yeah.
And
the anti-Snow Crash.
And instead, it created a variety of languages, and each language...
Chief among them was English, yeah.
Each language you learn alters your hardware slightly differently, and so he created a diverse population that would be less susceptible to the kinds of control and stagnation and...
How did Enki come up with that? How did he realize that, like, it's our language that's the problem here.
That's
If I just
Hero makes several leaps of logic.
If we just fracture our Sumerian, like, it means my Sumerian civilization is going to die because no one's going to speak the language. But in its place, we'll have, I guess, Babylon, and that'll get conquered by Assyria, which I guess would also, but at least the priests aren't in charge, I guess.
Well, I think what he did was he made every single person sentient, rather than some behaving more like drones.
Bad choice.
And then I think what
now they're going to get on Reddit and they're going to think that they know things, Ben.
That is a challenge. It's the price.
They're going to start podcasts and start discussing books, Ben. We can't let them do that. This is all we've got.
But if it weren't for that, this is the price we pay for being able to do that.
Damn.
This is the necessary cost of being a podcaster. So I think what Elbob has done is he has taken this and sort of reverse engineered it a little bit and found a way to combine it with the binary that we're all exposed to now. And
also drugs in the real world, because it's also Snow Crash is also in the real world.
Yeah, that was probably a little. He is out douching me a little here. I struggled to keep up with how Snow Crash.
It may have been fine if
real.
it may have been fine if it were just in the computer and it talks to your brain on a level, on the binary level. Essentially, it targets those deep brain structures. And
so essentially,
it can cause you to shut down parts of your brain. And you can't override that because English isn't designed to override that.
Well, so I think essentially what it does is to a normal person, it makes them more susceptible to being programmed. Like how Sumerian allowed them to be programmed with audio stimulation. This allows them to be programmed with visual stimulation.
Nice.
But for programmers who are already sort of sensitized to the binary programmed way of thinking,
yep,
it can just Snow Crash you. It can.
Yeah, that's
because I was actually going to bring up.
I stopped after Visual Basic. I was like, I'm getting too close to the truth.
Well, I was actually going to bring up the fact that, like, one of the reasons why your brain is different from a computer is when you become confused, your system doesn't run out of memory and crash.
I mean, in a way, it might. Have you seen like toddlers who get overstimulated and then you ask them that one final thing and they become confused and they throw a tantrum and start breaking shit? That's Snow Crash, but in real life, Ben.
Yeah, but the brain has a way of...
And they've got to reboot by taking a nap or like going to sit in timeout for a little bit. Getting a juice box.
But they're not dumping the entire state of their brain and starting fresh. Like what you have to do with a computer.
I mean, their current state is like, I'm going to fucking break everything. And they're dumping that, Ben.
The point is with this...
They're loading up calm.exe.
With this designed system, there's critical points of failure. It's a lot like...
Well...
Okay, here's an example.
Sumerian God did a much better job at designing human brains than we did at designing computers, Ben. Give us some time. We'll have AI vibe coding computers to perfection.
I think the example I would use is there's rather a lot going on underneath the surface of a computer for every minor action, whereas your brain just works infinitely more efficiently.
Is there anything in here about how people, for some reason, tend to think that your brain is just a thinky machine? Like, there's a lot of processes that your brain does that you don't have to think about, because it would be a pain in the ass to constantly think to make your heart beat every second. Though I guess you can, there are ways to control that, biofeedback and such. But I'm not tapping into that brainstem. Where I'm going with this is, what if you had control over 100% of your brain? Would you become Scarlett Johansson?
I think there's the thing I like about Snow Crash, especially in 2026, is I think Neal Stephenson is guiding you, if you can cut through the nonsense, which talking to some people, that seems to have been a challenge. If you can cut through the nonsense, he gets you thinking about what it means to be intelligent, what it means to be sentient. Like, is it just is awareness really just information processing? So like sufficiently complicated information processing is always going to produce consciousness, or is there a distinction between data, awareness, and processing? So you have the language that represents both. This is actually an interesting thing. In the processor of a computer, you have registers. And the registers...
Oh, yeah. You don't fuck around with those.
The registers could take in
unless you need to
information, and then the processor can transform that information, whatever.
And sometimes if something malicious gets in there, you're in some fucking
Well, so
trouble.
at the low level, there's no difference between data and instruction. The computer doesn't know if the next thing it pulls out of from the memory into the register.
So what we need is some herpes, and we need to go to town on that computer and make it sentient.
I think he's getting at something.
I agree, he is getting at something.
But then it turns into a bunch of samurai sword fights.
Yeah, I never thought I would say I would prefer more of the talkie bits than the action bits, but less YT skateboarding and fighting the government, who is run by El Bob, and less samurai sword fights with Raven and his glass swords.
Well, and I'll tell you what I like about that kind of talkie talk, and why I liked Dune, and why I like religion and the occult and esotericism.
The Orange Catholic Bible was so impressive. It was inscribed on like something the size of a grain of rice, and you have to use a really, really specific microscope to read it.
Look, not everything Frank Herbert wrote was gold, but I like information processing systems, and
and yet you hate Factorio. Come on.
I like religions and stuff because they serve a purpose in terms of organizing society. I don't believe in any of them.
Yeah.
But I like the character of Juanita because I kind of identify with her interest in religion. I don't identify with her strongly choosing Catholicism and just running in that direction. But I don't think she really believes in Catholicism. She doesn't believe in Catholicism the way a normal Catholic would. She doesn't literally...
I would prefer if more people didn't believe in Catholicism the way modern day Catholics believed in it. But
like, I don't think Juanita literally believes in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But
oh, well, then she's going to hell.
But she thinks that the religion serves a purpose.
I mean, obviously, it serves a purpose.
Unless
you're an edgelord in early years of college who's like, religion's bullshit. Brr.
Yeah, but
That's right. I live in the dorms. I don't have to listen to you, Mom and Dad.
I lived in
And then that guy had a heart attack 2 years ago.
I lived in the dorms.
It's like 34. Yeah, I also lived in the dorm.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway,
but no, I like Juanita. I like that he's thinking about these things.
This is the book, Ben.
Yeah.
We're having these deep conversations, and then we're gonna pull you out of that for a moment to talk about this guy I knew in high school and how I want to challenge him to a fitness test, and then we're back in.
So I think my problem.
We're giving you the book experience.
I think my thing is, I like that he introduced these things. I almost want to say it's like too much. It's way too much. Don't need the metaverse.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree that if you want to use the metaverse, maybe everything should be there. Maybe that's where Snow Crash should be.
It should be way more important.
Instead, it's used to host concerts.
And I don't want to, like, that's plausible, I guess. I mean, that...
Yeah, after seeing the modern day metaverse.
Literally, this was Zuckerberg's plan. Like, literally, Zuckerberg read this book and was like, people are going to want that.
Yeah, I already have YouTube. Why do I have to like walk in a digital space to a place that will play a YouTube video?
Yeah, people really thought that was going to be well, and you can't walk; you'll fall over and throw up. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they really couldn't conquer the feet problem. It turns out people need their feet.
Yeah, or else your brain is like, "What's going on? What's going on? Oh, oh God."
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I like
one of the reasons I haven't gotten the VR version of Resident Evil 4 because it looks fun. I don't want to vomit though.
Like I said, I like Beat Saber.
Yeah, I like games where most of the playing is just your hands and you move your hands around and you're mostly stationary. Mostly.
Yeah, not a lot of adventure happens while you're mostly stationary, though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the thing I played the most on VR was just a simulated poker table.
So
it made me feel like I had friends, Ben.
That's
and in the end, isn't that what the metaverse should be?
Making you feel like you have friends? I think that was the goal. That's been Mark Zuckerberg's entire career, is trying to pretend he has friends. But yeah, so let's finish the book, I guess. Weird. So that's the interesting thing to think about.
Going to the raft.
What now? They're planning on distributing the drug widespread
at a concert.
Yeah.
And also we're going to break the raft apart and distribute the drug in person as well.
And this will make
so it's a twofold plan.
Yeah.
The physical drug is going to be distributed by the members of the raft under L. Bob's control. And the the hackers, because they're not programmers, they're hackers. They're edgy. They might be able to stop L. Bob, so they got to get taken out. And what do hackers like to do? Exactly. Go to simulated Sushi K rap concerts in the metaverse.
Yeah, isn't he playing at like the big club thing?
Yeah, because Sushi K is a big fucking deal, Ben.
So to sum up, what Snow Crash does to the average person is it makes them more susceptible to being programmed.
Yeah.
And what it does to hackers...
That's going to be my next erotic novel. Go on.
And what it does to hackers is it absolutely crashes their brain.
Fucking destroys them, yeah.
Yeah.
And they start talking in Sumerian.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how would they talk in Sumerian without understanding what the Sumerians called shit?
So I think what he's saying is that glossolalia tongues becomes Sumerian.
Ah,
That doesn't make sense because it doesn't.
no. I hope that I'm okay to say this story here, but Momo did have a run-in with speaking in tongues. She went to like her friend was like, "Hey, how about you come to my church?" They went to her church and they started speaking in tongues, and it did program her brain to be like, "I need to get the fuck out of here. Get me the fuck out of here." brain, run away, engaged.
I've seen evangelicals do the speaking in tongues thing. I could tell you they weren't speaking Sumerian. So we can check that one.
You don't know that, Ben, because
check that one
you
off the
didn't
list.
you weren't there. You weren't there in Sumeria.
True. I can't prove that wasn't the language the Sumerians spoke. I can only prove it wasn't the language they wrote.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Checkmate.
spoke and wrote entirely different languages.
They spoke an entirely different language to trick you. I'm gonna release 500 YouTube shorts on that, and that's gonna be my career from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the plan. El Bob Rife wants to control the world. He's going to do it with
What
Snow
do the
Crash.
world's elites not want you to know? Sumerian edition. But yeah, that's the plan. So the mafia and also guy who runs Greater Hong Kong, whose name I've already forgotten, they are all in on this we gotta stop El Bob plan because they were in touch with Lagos and they employed YT for some reason to also do something.
Literally, the excuse
I don't know why they
Sal
wanted
likes
YT.
Her.
Yeah.
Or Enzo. Sorry, Enzo likes her.
Yeah, Enzo likes her. And, okay, I guess. But then, like, they kidnap YT, El Bob does, using the U.S. government. Because they also, I think, inject your mom with blood or something, and that's how they spread the snow crash as well. It's infected blood. Anyway, they get YT, and they're like, "You're going to be my hostage." Enzo wouldn't dare save the world from me if I have you here, and you might come to harm. But he never expected Hero and a guy with a glass eye who I think they just called Glass Eye at the end or something, and he just went by that name.
Well, they didn't expect it because
Fish Eye, that was what
Hero didn't know he was going to be there either. And he didn't know YT was there. That's not why he was going there.
No, he was going there to get some poon, if you know what I mean.
Hero's trying to get back with Juanita.
Yeah, he's trying to poon.
And they do that in a touching scene where Hero goes, "Hey, if we survive this, are you going to be my girl?" And she's like, "Yeah, we can do that."
High five! Mission accomplished.
Yeah. And that's that. That's the
Raven shows up. There are some pirates that are gonna. What was the point of the pirates? I don't know, but they're going to talk about violating some holes, and then they're all dead. They get killed by the mafia, and then Raven blows them up, and then they go aboard the raft anyway, and he's got like a young boy. Plato would be proud. A young boy is going to show him around the raft.
I think Plato was one of those pirates.
He's gonna find the clay tablet. And also, he programmed an antivirus for Snow Crash. And then Jesus was another attempt to break out of the rigid theocracy. That Jesus, number one. And then, let's see. Hero threatens to shoot through the windshield of El Bob's chopper. We were on a chopper at some point. I can't remember why exactly we're on a chopper.
There's pointless action scene after pointless action scene.
And then YT kicks a clay tablet out of the helicopter, and he's like, "I'm going to go get it." And then Juanita has an antenna in her head because she's part of the cult. But, actually, she's not part of the cult, and
she's broadcasting, not receiving. She can control them. She can write new
yeah,
programs of her own. This is the kind of religion she was interested in. See,
yeah, the type where she's on top,
yeah,
giving commands.
religion's great if you're the Pope.
Religion's great if you're. Well, I was gonna say Jesus. Religion's great if you're God. Then you just like, I tell you what to do.
Now, are you taking the stance that Jesus was not God?
I'm taking the stance that God wasn't crucified, but Jesus was, so it's much cooler to be God.
But yeah, see, that we could do a whole other episode on that. We could do a whole other podcast on that.
He's not God. He's God's son, but also maybe the Holy Spirit, Ben.
No,
the Holy Ghost.
He's God incarnated
he is God.
into his own
He's
son.
God incarnated, but also a son.
Yeah.
But also, what did the Council of Nicaea rule? Because that's ultimately
Trinity, something Trinity.
There you go. We did it.
To the people,
there'll never be another religious war again. We solved religion, guys.
I need to put in like a pin here. To the people in the comments.
First of all, 1 comment per episode. Come on.
Second, I know
maybe 2 if you're replying to something. All right.
If it's not obvious, I'm joking. I know more than I'm saying in the episode of Snow Crash. I know that these are complicated theological issues that have been debated for some times, and there are literally libraries filled with religious scholars talking about them, and I've read some of them. So it's a joke.
Yeah, but you know what, Ben? We don't have any time for that because Enzo is going to fight Raven in the real world after Raven gets killed in the virtual world by Hero. And then Hero, he activates the Snow Crash. And he's like, I finally nuked America. That was my entire goal. And then Hero uses his counter program and possibly a clay tablet combined with that. I don't know. I have to imagine the clay tablet was important somehow. And that is how he saved Christmas and prevented Snow Crash from killing everyone.
Yeah.
And then Raven gets the mafia guy gets the drop on Raven. I also think El Bob dies at some point at the end here. And then Uncle Enzo is like, how about a shave? And then YT's mom comes to pick her up because YT is in fact a child. Oh, she had sex with Raven earlier.
God, we forgot all about that.
Yeah. There's several chapters of Raven.
So you can probably tell by the way the episode's gone what I chose to focus on.
It's a fucking train crash at the end where it's just like, and then pirates are here and they're dead. And then Raven is here and he blows up the boat and Fisheye is dead. And then Hero's on the boat. And then Hero and Raven fight in the virtual world. And then Hero is going on the chopper and El Bob's there and then YT kicks the clay tablet out of the chopper. And then Enzo is fighting Raven. And it's like
everything after what we figure out Snow Crash is stupid.
Yeah, no.
I was really on board, and I really like what I read.
Fucking train crash right at the end.
I really like what I read. I think he was trying to. I'm going to be charitable here. I think he was trying to give you the sugar that makes the medicine go down. I think he was trying to give you your action scenes and your comedy and your pizza samurais, and he was trying to give you all that and make it very punk and very interesting.
But he doesn't really mix the sugar in with the medicine.
But I also think he was definitely
he interrupts the like, let's talk about all this language stuff to go back to YT skateboarding around and fighting people, and then we go back to the library.
I do think maybe he couldn't have conceived of women wanting to read this. That's a problem. YT is a huge problem.
What? You don't think that it was kosher in the early 90s for a 15-year-old girl to have sex with an older man who should know better?
Judging by a lot of the popular music at the time, I think it absolutely was kosher.
And judging by the people from that time who are still in power today,
So the thing with YT, we got to address this. This is a huge problem. There is an excruciatingly detailed sex scene with YT involving Chekhov's dentata.
Yeah.
If you mention it in Act 1, you gotta use it in Act 3. And that's stupid. It's stupid and unnecessary. There's no defending it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dumb. I don't understand it. I don't understand why. But I guess we needed to drug Raven, and what better way than by applying a needle through his penis, Ben?
Like I said, I think he thought it was funny, and it's like you said in 1992. I'm going to go along with the same like the Western civilization arguments. It's like, was he that far from the mainstream with this joke? I don't know, but it didn't age well. I think it would be. It's definitely worth a content warning to anybody you're recommending it to. I could see it being extremely off-putting and reason enough not to read the book for some.
Yeah. It maybe should just be cut out entirely. I don't. Actually, YT should just be cut out entirely.
Yeah, but you can't because he wrote it down. And you must adhere to all proper ritual when copying it. You may not make changes.
No, that's what abridged books are for.
That's what the Words About Books podcast is for.
Oh, there you go.
Because I can promise you, 90% of the people listening to this are not going to read it and are not still listening to it, to be quite honest with you.
You know what? You should.
I probably lost them.
We're your modern day priests.
I probably lost them in about 30 minutes in.
We're your priests. You got to listen to us.
I made a promise that as I approached middle age, I would not start a religion.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad we're on the same page. And then the book ends very abruptly.
Yeah, no, it is literally like Hero deploys Snow Crash, which is also an ad for his new cybersecurity business. And then YT's
mom shows up and she's like,
"You want to go home?
We're going home." Yup. The end. You messaged me the moment you finished, and you said, "Well, that was abrupt." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, no, he just got sick of writing it. That's a terrible ending. Should we rubric?
Let's rubric, Ben. blog.wordsaboutabooks.ninja/rubric.
All right.
Content and ideas, Ben.
I'm at a 4.
You're at a 4.
I'm at a 4.
I actually decided to give it a 5, Ben.
I'm halfway between 4 and a 5, I think. I think a 5 you can certainly make the case because it changed the genre forever. It had a huge impact. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg invested billions of dollars in the ideas. I really do like the way he integrates the linguistics and religion and everything. I wish that was more of the book, or honest to God, even more relevant to the book.
Nah. It's just about how can I sell stupid shit that doesn't exist to gullible idiots. Metaverse. When you're here, your family.
When you're here, your family.
Organization, Ben.
Oh boy, that's a 2.
I originally gave it a 3, and then I was like, no. That's gotta be a 2. It's not, the narrative isn't confusing and hard to follow. Well, no,
yeah,
actually, it is. Yeah. Because I was going to say, we did talk about last time where he like time jumps.
Yeah, neither one of us fully understands what Snow Crash is.
Yeah.
There's tons of it that's confusing and hard to follow. The whole thing about Hero and Raven's dads being POWs together, what?
Was that a real story? Because he talks about it, and I was like, did that really happen, or is this like what is this?
Yeah, it's insane. No, the organizations. It's a lot of book. It's a lot of
71.
It's a lot of squeeze for not too
chapters.
much juice.
Yeah.
The juice. I like the juice, but not a lot of it.
But you don't like having to compress an orange in order to get like an eighth of a cup.
Yeah.
You like having to.
Yeah.
Use of language, Ben. I actually gave a pretty high score for use of language. I actually gave it 5, Ben.
I'm torn here because I think I'm going to go 4. I don't think I'm quite at a 5 because I do think it would be a 5 if everything he wrote landed. Like we talked about, William Gibson could describe a trash can to me and I would clap. This is not that.
Yeah.
Trash cans were described
really great at that.
Trash cans were
strongest
described.
part of that book.
But there's definitely a lot of flavor. There's definitely a style. I definitely think that can be off-putting. In this case, I liked it. It did remind me very much of those. I think they might have been a little stale. Like it reminded me of like late 80s, early 90s indie comic books. It conjures that vibe pretty well. And that's the good and the bad, because those were also like pointlessly edgy, sexist, not often aging well. But they were also kind of cool. They also kind of inspired a wave of stuff I like that came after. So I think he does a good job using language in that way. But I just for it to be a 5, it's not on that level for me.
It's fair. It's fair. Where are you at with personal preference?
I think I'm at a 4.
I'm also at a 4. But I also wrote in my review that I had to give it a yellow card back.
Which
so I did dock points.
Oh, for YT,
take 5 points away for the final one for YT and the whole weird sex stuff with YT. I'm like, yeah, that's a deduction. You get a level 4, but I'm scoring you like I gave you a 3.
Yeah, I definitely don't think he thought about it that way.
It just made her 3 years older.
But
or cut her
I
out.
mean, I will say in terms of like him being with the mainstream, how many like shows from around that time, like now I know this was a little later than 92, but like 90210, or how many of those fucking John Hughes movies specifically feature characters underage having sex? Like the culture was bad.
All right.
I mean, yeah. I'm not. You're right to dock. Like I said, it's worth a content warning. It's obviously going to be a major factor in recommending to me. Because I think with recommendation strength, I am at a 2.
I went with a 3. Went with a weak recommendation for people who want to look at like tent poles and
I'm gonna go to a 3 for cyberpunk people. I do think yeah you got me up to a 3.
I gave it a 67 out of 100.
62. Well, There you go.
And I'll be sure to send you a file that you can put at the end of this, Ben.
All right. Well, while you're at it,
my amazing rap.
While you're at it, send me a file that includes the Patreon shoutouts.
Done.
All right. Ta-ta.
Bye. All right, Ben, you know what time it is. Feel free to give me a beat, but if you give me a beat, you gotta use your mouth. You gotta beatbox like a man, all right?
You have no power here.
I'm Sushi K, and I'm here to say I like to rap in a different way. Look out, #1 in every city. Sushi K Rap has almost pretty. My special talking of remarkable words is not the stereotype buck-toothed nerd. My hair is as big as a galaxy, 'cause I attain greater technology. I like to rap about sweet and romance. My fond ambition is of your pants. So here is a special remarkable way of the spello raps named Sushi K. The Nipponese talking phenomenon, like samurai swords, his sharpened tongue, who raps the East Asian and the Pacific. Prosperity spear, to be specific. Sorari man on Subway, listen for Sushi K like nuclear fission. Fire-breathing lizard Gojiro. He my always big-time hero. His mutant rap burned down whole block. Start investing now. Sushi K stock. It on fuck man. Nikkei? What? How do you pronounce that? It on Nikkei Stock Exchange. Waxes. Other rappers wane. Best investment, make my day. Corporation, Sushi K. Coming to America now. Rappers trying to start a row and now do not rhyme. They don't rhyme. Fuck you. Stay in Japan. Please, listen. We can't handle competition. U.S. rappers booing and hissing. Ask for rap protectionism. They afraid of Sushi K, 'cause their audience go away. He got chill financial backing. Give those U.S. rappers a smacking. Sushi K, concert machine. Fast, efficient, super clean. Run like clockwork in a watch. Kick old rappers in the crotch. He learned English, total immersion. English, Japanese, be merging into super combination. So can have fans in every nation. Hong Kong, they speak English too. Yearn of rappers just like you. Anglophones who live down under sooner or later start to wonder when they get their own rap star. Tired of rappers from afar. So I will get big radio traffic when you look at demographic. Sushi K research statistic. Make big future look ballistic. Speed of Sushi K growth stock. Put US rappers into shock. Alright. I did it. I fulfilled my contractual obligation. And now, one more contractual obligation. That is our patrons, who had to listen to all that to have their names be heard. So, let's all give a big shout out to, in any random order, Isekai Sensei Sama. From that time I got reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster podcast. Is Sushi K an isekai? I don't know. We've got Jamie, the Gravy Man, from ifyouwantthegravy.blogspot.com. Or .wordpress.com. Fuck, I'm leaving that in. This is all one take. He reviews a whole bunch of things, and you know what? He also used to be a bit of a rapper himself. Maybe you should do some Sushi K. Juicy K? I don't know, man. I'm tired. We got Shy with a Y, over on TikTok, and also at an improv theater in Harrisburg. Maybe Shy wants to pull out the old Sushi K next time that she's doing the improv. I got John Bierce, a real author. But is he a real author if he doesn't have an amazing rap like Sushi K? And he's here to say he's gonna smack your ass in a different way. Fuck me. John Bierce, go check out his books. The Rack and the Wabi award-winning The Rack. And also the Mage Errant series and The City That Would Eat the World. He also has a Patreon. You should go over there after you subscribe to our Patreon. Keep adding to your financial commitments. The economy has never been stronger, is what I've been told by people I can definitely trust. Finally, last but not least, you got Jacob Lansky doing whatever the fuck he wants, motherfucker. Including funding Nate doing the Sushi K rap. I hope it was everything he ever wanted. Okay. I'm done.